Hey guys, so this is part 2 of our little French and Indian War / Treaty of Paris lesson. After this, all you have to do is finish the map and finish the notes that I'll explain in this video as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me, pause this if I start to go too fast. This is actually the second time I am recording this because I accidentally deleted the first recording. So all of my highlights are actually still on my screen that you're seeing behind me. So if I go too fast, I'm not doing it with you. Just pause it or rewind it, okay? So without further ado, we're going to continue on to our Treaty of Paris. So read along with me. The fighting was over. Now the British and the British Americans could enjoy the fruits of victory. The terms of the Treaty of Paris were harsh to losing France. All French territory on the mainland of North America was lost. The British received Quebec and the Ohio Valley. The port of New Orleans and the Louisiana Territory west of the Mississippi were ceded to Spain. Now, you see it blacked out right here and also right here. These are typos in the document. So I just blacked them out so they wouldn't confuse you. You can black them out on your paper as well if you'd like to. Real quick, ceded. All that means... wrong word. Nope, that's also the wrong word. Ceded just means to give up. Okay. It should have been a time to revel in the spoils of war. Instead, the very victory that temporarily brought American colonists close to their British cousins would help tear them apart. There is nothing like fear to make a group of people feel close as a protector. The American colonists had long felt the threat of France peering over their shoulders. They needed the might of the great British military to keep them safe from France. With France gone, this was no longer true. So the colonists no longer needed the British to protect them, or at least the American colonists thought. So they were kind of irked, I guess. It was kind of like whenever you're in that kind of weird in-between stage with your parents where you can kind of take care of yourself, but your parents don't want to let go of that control over you. I know a lot of you guys probably understand that. Whenever you're older, you'll understand your parents as well, because I'm an adult and I still need my parents' help all the time. The experience of the French and Indian War did not, in many ways, bring the British and Americans closer together. The British troops looked down on their noses at the colonials. Americans were regarded as crude, lacking culture. The pious New Englanders found the British redcoats to be profane. New Englanders did not like taking orders. There was considerable resistance to helping the British at all until Pitt promised to reimburse the colonists. Smugglers continued to trade with the French and the Spanish enemies throughout the war. There was considerable tensions indeed. So again, the war did not bring the colonists and the British together. In fact, it kind of started this little divide between the colonists and the British. It did bring the colonists closer together, however. It was kind of like the common enemy, the common enemy theme, the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of deal. The American colonists did feel closer together to each other. Some of the intercolonial rivalry was broken down in the face of a common enemy. The first sign of nationalism, now nationalism is a very important word. It means identifying with your own nation in support for its interest, especially the exclusion or detriment of the interests of other nations. So it's like, even though we're Louisianians, we still care about the United States, if that makes sense. Before this, the different colonies kind of only cared about each colony. So if you lived in Georgia, you only cared about Georgia. You didn't care about what was going on in New York. But this kind of gave them a sense of nationalism. If there was a big battle near New York during this time, well, Georgia was really concerned about that because that had to do with their homeland. So it created a sense of nationalism, and that's part of our American identity today. So the first sign of nationalism was seen when settlers from all 13 colonies laid down their lives together in battle. Likewise, the joy of victory was an American triumph. All could share the pride of success. In many ways, the French and Indian War was a coming of age for the English colonies. They had over a century of established history. They had a flourishing economy. The Americans proved they could work together to defeat a common foe. Before long, they would do so again. And spoiler alert, that is the revolution. They're going to come together to defeat the British. So we are going to switch over. Not that one, this one. Alright, so hopefully you've been following along on the slideshow. If you look on here, well, first, I should say, this page that I'm about to pull up is also in your document book, okay? It's on page 15, but I want you to fill out this page. You can either do it on here or you can do it on your document in here. So either in your document book or on here. But what you're going to do, I pulled it up small, so you can pull it up like that, or you can open a new tab. Let's see, you can make this a little bit larger. Where's my, there we go. Okay, so under the, all you have to do is click here and it's going to bring you to like the text box. So like right here, I want you to put unknown words and phrases. So if you didn't know what nationalism was, I want you to put nationalism there. That's just to kind of give you awareness. I'm not going to make you define them, but I want you to be able to pick out whenever you're reading, hey, I don't really know this word. I wonder what it means. So fill up as many as you want. I want you to have at least 5 or 6 on there. Comments and questions. I want at least 3 comments and questions. So you can do 1 comment, 2 questions. You can do 3 questions. The questions can be about anything related to this. So questions that you have that the text made you think about. So, for example, you could say something like, why did the Spanish help the French? Or why couldn't they just share the land, they being the French and the colonists? Or you could say something like, well, why didn't we talk about the Native Americans? So anything like that, any kind of comments or questions. Don't use the ones that I just gave you. But that's what I want you to think about. And then I want a detail from each paragraph. Not any detail, an important detail. So an important detail from each paragraph. And then I want you to write 1 paragraph about why it's important. Okay? So after you do that, make sure you finish the second part of the map. You'll find the link to that video, or I guess it won't really be a video. It'll more likely be just a slideshow. But click on the slideshow link to bring you to the next activity, okay? Thanks, guys. Bye.